Okay, hey there. This is Richard Wilt again. Sorry I was late. I normally do these on Thursdays. Today is Monday, but better late than never. So I'm going to go over a sheet that we went over last week in my DBT group, and I think it's going to be a pretty good one, actually. Very, very practical. Excuse me. Okay. And as you see up on the screen, it is titled Interpersonal Effectiveness Skills Handout 11A. And hold on. There we go. Identifying skills to find people and get them to like you. All right, without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so what we did last week was in our session, we went over every single one of these, and then we selected what we thought the best answer was. Our therapist either said yay or nay. I'm pretty sure we got all of them right. There were a few that may have been a tiny bit ambiguous, but most of these are kind of straightforward, I think. But we'll see. Okay, number 1A. Realize the good relationships depend on what you do. 1B. Thinking of relationships in vague, abstract terms. I'm going to go with A. All right. Could I talk about that a little bit? Realize depending on what you do. Yeah, I would imagine there's a certain amount of action one must take in order to get positive results, right? Like if I use the analogy, let's say going to the gym, you'd stay home, read about the gym, watch television programs about the gym, read articles about the gym, think about the gym. But if you're not going to the gym, you will get no benefits. And I think it's the same way. Also, if you're going to the gym, you want to have a very specific workout routine, what day you're going to do what sort of foods you're going to eat. Really, the more you're able to kind of nail it down and be specific and have goals that are measurable, let's say, then you're going to be more successful because you have something to kind of gauge your progress on rather than some kind of, And I do think even with skills like this, which might seem more esoteric, I do think making them concrete and making them somewhat practical really is helpful because then it tends to take the emotion out of it as well. It's not some exercise in your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your worth as a person, No, it's just a goal you're trying to reach. Okay. Number 2. Option A, expect people to beat a path to your door. It's my favorite method, I always say. Option B, create and make full use of opportunities to come into regular contact with others. Obviously, that's B. I think a lot of us switch to option A, especially if you have self-esteem issues or issues with anxiety or agoraphobia. Agoraphobia, is that where you're afraid of going outside? But oftentimes I'll find myself, and this is what happens with depression, I think. Part of the thing of depression is you tend to isolate yourself, and then you get lonely, and you think you're lonely because no one loves you and you're no good, and then you get more depressed, and then you isolate yourself more. It's interesting how that spiral happens. So I guess putting it back to this, yeah, we got to get out there and we have to be proactive, which is always tough. I always find it tough. I have to remind myself that all the time. Okay. Number 3, mix with people who share your attitudes and interests. So that's option A. Option B, mix with people with whom you have little in common. I'm thinking option A. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know about you, but sometimes I have this feeling, have this thought or this sensibility that if it's easy and it's natural, it must not be right. It has to be difficult. You have to work for it. And I think that comes from me, from my past, where no, it doesn't have to be. It can be quite easy, especially if we meet people who think like us and have our values and who see life the way that we do. I think that's probably the way to go. Okay. Number 4A, mix with people who respond positively to you and to me generally. That's a weird sentence. Option B, mix with cynics and pessimists. We're going to go with option A, right? Yep. You want to be around people who like you. Surprise. All right, number 5. Express your opinions and attitudes so that others can recognize similarities with you. Keep your opinions and attitudes to yourself. That's obviously option A. Now, there are ways of doing that that may not be the best way. Like if you're forceful or you're loud or you kind of push your opinions on other people, that's not good. But also not saying anything's not good. So that's something I believe that's a skill that should probably be developed, right? Where you learn how to express your opinions and your thoughts and your feelings and your values in a way that lets people know where you stand, but at the same time doesn't piss everybody off, even the people you're trying to meet and make relationships with. Okay. Number 6, answer questions briefly and seldom ask or return them. Show interest in others by asking questions. I would say it's B. Yeah. And I would also think we should go back to last week's sheet where we talked about doing it in the same volume as the other person. So someone shares something, we don't overshare, right? We ask questions, but we're not too intense with the questions, because I've gotten to where I go, hey, do you like this? Do you like this? What about this? What about that? And the person's like, whoa. So that can be too intense also. So again, doing it in a way where you're trying to get information from other people and you want to show your interest, but it's not too intense. Okay. Number 7, stay out of conversations other people are having so people know you're respectful. Option B, politely ask to join in conversations so you can meet more people. Well, option B, right? You can't stand off to the side and get to know other people. More than likely, they're not going to invite you into their group. Now, they might, because, there are people who are quite friendly and that's what they'll do. But you don't want to rely on that, right? You want to be proactive here. This is about us trying to get our needs met. And if we're to get our needs met, we need to be proactive in that. We can't wait for other people to bestow them upon us, right? Because that tends to lend itself to feeling powerless and not that we have some sort of control over our happiness, which we do. Okay, number 8. A, say nothing or everything about yourself, regardless of what others reveal. Oh, this goes back to number 6. Option B, disclose roughly the same amount of personal information to others as they disclose to you. Option B, don't over or undershare. And for a long time, I never understood, how do I do that? And it's right here. It's so genius. You just do it to the other person's level, which also I think kind of subconsciously puts you more in sync with them, right? Because some people might like to share a lot and you may like that. And so you might, do the same thing. Some people slow, they don't want to go too fast. But when you meet their rhythm, intuitively, it makes them trust you more because you're meeting them on their terms. Now, some people, their sensibilities may be so out of whack from yours, you may not want to. Maybe some people, maybe you like sharing a lot. I don't know. Maybe this person is too slow. I don't know. Anyway, I love this. This is great. Okay, 9. A, keep good opinions of others to yourself. B, if you like others, let them know. Definitely B. I think there's probably a way that you can do it without fawning over other people. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with letting people know you think they're awesome. I mean, we like to hear that we're awesome, right? Okay, 10. Protect yourself and comment only on good points that are obvious to anyone and everyone. B, don't express liking indiscriminately. I think it's B. Yeah. And if what I like to do is if I'm letting someone know that I like something about them, I always try to make it specific to them. So instead of saying, wow, you're really smart, which the person might be, say, my goodness, you have a real knowledge of 18th century history. Did you study history in school? Something like that. Specific. they both are the same thing, right? Because normally, in order to be that well read, you are probably intelligent. So telling them they're intelligent is true, but being more specific to me is better. And then that way it doesn't come across as just I don't know, like cheap flattery. Oh, on to flattery. Number 11. 11A, rely on flattery to get what you want when you think it will work. B, don't use flattery to influence others. I think this is one we messed up on. We selected A. Our therapist said it was B. So I don't think we talked about it. And I think what he was saying, what we weren't clear on, is that it's okay to flatter people. And if it's sincere, of course. But if you're using it as a tool to manipulate, or the flattery is not real, let's say you're telling someone they have a quality they don't have, that's when it becomes a little shady. And also the person's probably going to pick up on it. Okay, 12. 12A, stand near a friendly looking person in a new group, wait for a lull in the conversation, and then ask if it's okay for you to join the group. 12B, stand near a group of new people and make sure your comments or opinions are heard. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. I would say A, because A is you trying to include yourself within the group. B is almost like being the peanut gallery, where you're just kind of standing off to the side and lobbing comments. You're not a part of the group, so you're going to look like an interloper. And it's probably not the best way to introduce yourself to people. Okay. Now, he accidentally gave us 2 sheets here. So he was going to give us the third one. He never did. I'm going to have to get on to him about that today. Okay, let's go to the bottom here. Mindfulness of others. Okay, so this is a checklist. Let's see. Fill this sheet out whenever you practice mindfulness of others and whenever you have an opportunity to practice. Even if you don't or almost don't do anything in practice. Write on the back of the sheet if you need more room. You know, this reminds me. I met some new people this week, and I was messaging them on Instagram, and I think I may have been a little too eager. I think I didn't maybe do what option A is. I did a little overshare. I didn't do 8B, which is disclose roughly the same amount of personal information. So let's go down to the checklist. Okay. Check off any of the following that you practiced. Okay, so paid attention with interest and curiosity to others around me. I would say I did that. Let go of focus on myself and focused on the people I was with. Yeah, I did a pretty good job. Notice judgmental thoughts about others and let them go. Yes, I did. Stayed in the present instead of planning what I would say next and listened. I did that about 50% of the time with these new group of people. Put my entire attention on the other person and didn't I multitask? 50-50. Gave up clinging to being right. Yeah, I did a good job of that. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next. Described in a matter-of-fact way what I observed. Not sure what that means. Replace judgmental descriptions with descriptive words. Described in a matter-of-fact way. Oh, so maybe in that moment, described in a matter-of-fact way what I observed. So instead of using emotional labels, maybe? Oh, I was in a group with 5 people. I was shooting a film this past weekend, and I met these people. Rather than saying, man, everyone was like hanging around being amongst themselves. They weren't talking to me. So I think that's what it is. Okay. Describe what I observed instead of making assumptions and interpretations of others, which is what I just said. Avoided questioning others' motives. I did a pretty good job on all these with my new interaction this week. Threw myself into interactions with others. Yeah, I think I did a pretty good job. Went with the flow rather than trying to control everything. Pretty good. Went a little too far on the old texting and the instant messaging. A little too much. Became one with the conversation I was in. I think so. Describe a situation where you practice mindfulness of others in the last week. Well, like I said, I did a film shoot on what day was that? Friday. And I met a lot of people. And I really tried to be aware of who I was. My friend was there. He was the DP, and he was really, really busy. So selfishly, I wanted to hang out and talk with him, but he was too busy, like, running the whole thing. So I said hello. I stayed off to the side. I let him come to me. I was very aware of that. I'm very proud of myself for doing that. Who was the person you were with? Aha, I was with a whole group of people. People I knew, people I didn't know. So it was a nice mix. How exactly did I practice mindfulness? Well, I just made sure that I was aware of my behavior in every interaction. I was kind of like this third eye watching myself. And I really try to pay attention to the other people and take cues from them, as far as if I could tell maybe they wanted to do something else or go somewhere else, I kind of would pull back, or if they wanted to talk, I would talk. So I did pretty good. What was the outcome? The outcome was pretty good. I met some new people, had a great time, and went really well. How do you feel afterwards? I feel pretty good. Did being mindful make a difference? Yes. If so, what? Well, I just think when you're consciously aware of your surroundings, it stops you from becoming self-focused. And for me, when I become self-focused, that's when I really start to overdo it, because I'm not paying attention to outside cues. All of my anxiety is kind of whipping me into a frenzy, and I'm focusing on that. If I focus outward, that doesn't happen. All right. Well, this was pretty good. This was short. I think I'm going to get better at these as I go, but for now, I'm pretty happy. Yeah. Hey, so I'm going to do mine this Thursday instead of waiting like I did this week, but y'all have a great rest of your day. I love all of you. Hang in there, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.